My name is Melanie. Standing in the elegant lobby of the wedding venue, surrounded by the fading dreams of my brother Ethan's wedding, I felt a strange sense of relief. The once bustling space was now filled with tension, and I knew this was the culmination of a series of events that had tested my family bonds to the limit. My family is from a small, tight-knit community where traditions and family ties are highly valued. My mother, Grace, is a kind-hearted but overly compliant woman. She has always tried to keep the peace in the family, often at the expense of her own principles. My father passed away when we were young, leaving Grace to raise me and Ethan on her own. Ethan, being the only son, has always been the apple of Grace's eye. He's 32 years old, charming on the surface but with a self-centered streak that I've overlooked for far too long. I'm an event planner, running my own business called Melanie's Event Creations. After my divorce a few years ago, I've been focused on rebuilding my life and providing a stable environment for my 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Money has been tight, but I've always made sure to give Lily the best I can. Lily's birthday was supposed to be a special day. I had saved up for months to order a beautiful cake with her favorite purple sugar butterflies and her name written in white icing. The day of the party, I walked into the back of the small restaurant, holding a stack of paper plates in one hand and a lighter for the candles in the other. What I saw shattered my heart. The cake was upside down in the garbage. The pink frosting was smeared across the black trash bag, and the sugar butterflies she had picked out herself were broken. Her name, carefully written in icing, was dragged through coffee grounds and napkins. The room went silent as if everyone knew something cruel had happened but was waiting for someone to speak up. Ethan was leaning against the counter, a grin on his face that showed no sign of remorse. When I asked him what happened, he laughed and said, "Honestly, she wasn't worth wasting a cake on." Lily stood beside me in her pink birthday dress, still wearing her paper crown, looking at the trash in disbelief. I didn't lose my temper. Instead, I picked her up, felt her small arms wrap around my neck, and walked out of the restaurant while everyone watched. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I received a text from Ethan. "Look, I'm sorry if you got emotional about the cake. Wedding stress is killing me. Let's move on." It was clear he wasn't sorry for hurting Lily, he was just annoyed at my reaction. The next morning, Grace called me, crying. "Please call the venue. They're about to cancel Ethan's wedding." I looked at Lily sleeping on the couch, her paper crown folded beside her, and said, "Sounds like his problem." Then I hung up. But the situation got worse. I received an email from the venue. It was a final notice regarding Ethan's wedding reservation, with the words "guarantor signature required" in bold. I opened the email twice, not believing my eyes. According to the venue's records, my business had been used to secure the reservation. My business name, Melanie's Event Creations, was listed as the coordinating party, and there was a scanned copy of a form that looked like my signature. I knew immediately what had happened. Ethan had taken the sample documents I sent him months ago, which I marked up to help him understand the venue terms, and forged my signature. I called the venue and spoke to the manager, Sarah. She was relieved to hear from me, which told me Ethan had been causing problems. I explained to Sarah that my company had never guaranteed anything. I had only recommended the venue and reviewed the contract as a favor. Sarah asked me to send a written statement, and if my signature was unauthorized, they would remove my company from the reservation. But the couple would have to pay the full outstanding amount by 5 p.m. That day, or the ballroom would be released. Before I could draft the statement, my phone started ringing non-stop. Grace called 3 times, Ethan called twice, and an aunt I rarely spoke to texted, asking if I was really destroying the wedding. Ethan then sent me a message ordering me not to talk to the venue until I talked to him. That morning, Lily walked into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. She saw my face and asked, "Is Uncle Ethan mad at you because of me?" That question cut through all my old habits of keeping the peace. I knelt in front of her, took her hands, and said, "No, baby. He is mad because I'm not letting him hurt us and then use us. I sent Sarah a formal email stating that I had not signed, authorized, guaranteed, coordinated, financed, or accepted liability for Ethan's wedding. I attached copies of my real signature from past contracts and the original email where I had only introduced Ethan as a private family referral. Ethan called me again. "What did you do?" he demanded. I replied, "I told the truth." He laughed sharply and said, "You mean you threw a tantrum because of a cake, and now you're trying to ruin my wedding?" I told him he had used my business name without permission, and I had removed it. He then threatened me, saying, "If you don't call Sarah and put your name back on that account, I'll tell everyone you're jealous because his fiancée, Sophia, is getting the wedding you never had." I was stunned, but I stood my ground. I told him that he had thrown away Lily's birthday cake and now was threatening me because I wouldn't cover his lie. By noon, the family group chat was filled with accusations. Ethan wrote that I was refusing to help because I wanted attention. Grace pleaded with everyone to pray that I would soften my heart. A cousin asked what had happened, and Ethan replied that I was just mad about dessert. At 3:47 p.m. Ethan showed up at my apartment. He was pacing in the hallway, looking panicked, with Grace standing behind him, holding a tissue. I sent Lily to her room with headphones and a movie before opening the door. Ethan tried to push his way in, but I blocked him. He said we needed to talk, and I told him he needed to talk, and I would decide if it was worth my time. He started with an apology, saying he was under a lot of pressure with the wedding. But when I asked him why he threw away the cake, he said it was in the way of the dessert table. He claimed it was supposed to be a family lunch, and Olivia's parents were there discussing wedding details, and I had made the whole afternoon about Lily. I stared at him in disbelief. Grace looked down, unable to meet my eyes. I realized that he had thrown away the cake because Lily's birthday had interrupted the spotlight he thought should be on his wedding. Grace tried to intervene, asking me to call Sarah and put my name back on the account. I told her that if I did, I would be responsible. I also reminded her that when Ethan had hurt Lily, she had done nothing. Ethan then said, "You owe me. For being your brother, for all the years Mom had to worry about you after your divorce, and for all the times the family had to listen to your problems." He even said that Lily needed to learn she wasn't special. I opened the door wider and told him to leave. He laughed bitterly and said I was choosing Lily over the family. I looked him in the eye and said, "There is no us that requires me to sacrifice my child." He then threatened that if the wedding was cancelled, everyone would know it was because of me. After he left, Lily came out of her room and asked if she was special. I dropped to my knees and hugged her tightly, telling her that she was special because every child deserves to be loved, protected, and celebrated. That evening, I held a replacement birthday party for Lily in our apartment. It was a small gathering, but filled with love. Catherine, a friend, came with a homemade banner, and 2 of Lily's classmates brought glittery gift bags. Our elderly neighbor brought cookies. The cake was smaller but perfect, with vanilla, strawberry filling, purple butterflies, and Lily's name on top. Before we lit the candles, Lily touched my arm and whispered, "Can we take a picture first? Just in case." My heart ached. That just in case was a reminder of the fear Ethan had instilled in her. Later that night, Sophia texted me. She asked if Ethan had used my business name without permission and if he had thrown away Lily's cake. I told her the truth, and she asked me to send her the evidence. I sent her all the emails, screenshots, and the venue's confirmation. An hour later, the family group chat changed. Sophia's older sister asked why my company was listed on the contract if I didn't agree. Sophia's father said they were told I was handling payment security as a professional courtesy. Sophia replied that it had become her family's matter when Ethan lied to them about the venue. Ethan called me 15 times, but I didn't answer. He texted, saying I had no right to send Sophia the evidence. I replied that he had no right to use my name. He then said I was destroying his relationship, and I told him I was just refusing to help him hide what he had done. The next day, I went to the venue. Ethan was there, looking desperate in his navy suit. Grace was sitting on a velvet bench, crying. Sophia was standing beside her parents, pale but composed. Sarah was behind the desk, calm and professional. Ethan tried to convince me to tell them it was a misunderstanding, but I said it was not. I showed them the emails and samples of my real signature. Sarah confirmed that my company had been removed from liability, and the couple had to pay the outstanding balance. Ethan laughed and said they could pay after the wedding with the gifts. Sophia was shocked and asked if he really planned to do that. Ethan's face turned red, and he tried to make excuses. Sophia then looked at Ethan and asked if he had thrown away Lily's cake because he was angry her party was getting attention. Ethan's face flushed, and he tried to brush it off, but Sophia was not convinced. She removed her engagement ring and said she had asked him for honesty for months, but he had lied every time. Grace pleaded with me to help, but I refused. I said I would not call Sarah as his coordinator, guarantee his balance, lie to Sophia, or teach Lily that cruelty gets rewarded. In the end, the wedding was postponed. The florist cancelled, the band kept the deposit, and Sophia's family took her home. Ethan sent me a message saying I had cost him everything, but I knew he had only himself to blame. Grace came to my apartment a few days later. She was holding Lily's paper crown, which a server had found at the restaurant. She apologized, saying she should have stood up for Lily. We talked for a long time, and she admitted that she had suspected Ethan had used my business name but had convinced herself I had allowed it. I told her that she had protected the version of Ethan she wanted and had left the real damage for me and Lily. She did not argue. Before leaving, she asked if she could apologize to Lily in person, and I told her not yet. Ethan never truly apologized. A week later, he left a voicemail saying I had gone too far. I saved it as a reminder. Sophia messaged me that she had ended the engagement and thanked me for telling the truth. Looking back, I don't feel guilty for not saving Ethan's wedding. I grieved the family I once thought I had, but I also learned that boundaries are necessary, even in a family. And I hope Lily will always remember that when someone tries to take away her joy, she should stand up for herself.